Shana Tova.
Shana Tova.
Good morning. My name is Ina Horn, and it is my honor and privilege to address you as the president of Anshe Emeth Memorial Temple. Whether you are members or guests, with us in person or connecting with us virtually, we are so pleased that you are able to join us today in observance of Yom Kippur. This year, we celebrate the High Holy Days at the intersection of tradition and innovation. We reimagined our services by combining the creativity we used to approach last year's virtual experience with our time-honored High Holy Days in-person programming that we are now able to do with safety protocols in place. Some of us are worshiping here in the sanctuary, while others are connecting from a distance. And as we welcome 5782, our commitment to being together safely as a multi-access community is unwavering. During the past year and a half, we have been through some frightening and frustrating times. And yet, we pulled together as a temple community to persevere through our new reality. We have had an extraordinary year celebrating the joys of life, as well as mourning losses, mostly all from a distance. We learned in new ways, and we connected with our community in both familiar and innovative settings. Throughout history, times of crisis have always increased the opportunity for bringing out the best in us. This pandemic was no exception and has enabled us to reimagine our temple experience, finding creative ways to maintain what's best about synagogue life, including focus on family, community, and compassion for those in need. Certainly, the pandemic challenged us, but it didn't break us. And in the process, we have learned the importance of remaining flexible, agile, and creative. The biggest mistake we could make is to go back to the way things used to be and not learn from the experiences of this past year. Yom Kippur gives us that opportunity for reflection and inspires us to make a difference in the new year. So what does temple life look like now in the shadow of the pandemic? This past June, we welcomed our temple family back to in-person Shabbat services after being forced to be away for almost over a year. And while we continue to look forward to having our congregation back in the sanctuary, our weekly services will still be available through a variety of multi-access platforms that will complement our in-person experiences. I'm proud to say that the temple is in good financial health. We successfully received PPP loan forgiveness, kept our staff employed, and finished our fiscal year with a balanced budget and a surplus. With the continued support of our membership, we intend to maintain this level of financial security. To better serve all members of our congregation and to better engage with people inside and outside the building, we have made and will continue to make key improvements in technology. Some of the upgrades include a new streaming service, new high-definition cameras, and the fine-tuning of our audio system. In addition, we have installed these large format display screens right here in the sanctuary to enhance our in-person and virtual experiences. All of these advancements enable us to expand our audience beyond geographical limitations, and we will be able to benefit from these innovations for years to come. At a time when many synagogues have lost members and are closing their doors, we have maintained our membership numbers and have welcomed many new congregants. Improved technology has created additional access points through live stream, Facebook, and YouTube for potential members to decide if Anshe Emeth is the place for them. Just this past week, we received a beautiful note from a new congregant living out of state that said how after listening to both the rabbi and the cantor virtually on Rosh Hashanah, she was sure that her decision to join Anshe Emeth was the right one. We are going beyond transcending the traditional boundaries of engagement. We found new ways to do life cycle events. We connected with you through Zoom conferencing, communicated with you at town hall meetings, laughed with you at our Taste of Anshe Emeth events, cried with you at Zoom Shivas, welcomed you at temple parking lot drive-thrus, offered you delicious food at our Shabbabacues, and sweet treats at our Onegs to go. Anshe Emeth welcomes all people. Our membership is dedicated to the core principles of inclusion and equity. We celebrate the rich diversity of our Anshe Emeth community and do not limit our membership nor participation by age, race, ethnicity, faith, gender, sex, marital status, disability, ability, nor any of the characteristics used to judge and separate people. The reality is, Jews exist in all these categories and more, and are far more likely to involve themselves in Jewish communities like ours that make the effort to welcome them and see their full identities. Some of our recent efforts include incorporating gender-neutral symbols in and around the building and using more inclusive language in the temple's constitution and forms. We continue to educate our kids. After a year of mostly online learning and in-person classes at Eagles Landing Day Camp, we are thrilled to welcome our religious school students back in our temple classrooms once again under the leadership of Matt Vogel, Director of Education and Engagement. Our learning programs help students form a positive Jewish identity that will enable them to interact in the current world, proud of their Jewish heritage. In July, we welcomed Melissa Riley Greco to the GON as the new Director of Early Childhood Education. Melissa brings many years of experience, and in the short time she has been with us, she has already begun to build on the GON's strong tradition of education, nurturing, and love of children. Along with a new curriculum and new improved tech tools, we look forward to her taking the GON to new heights. We found new ways to help our community in response to COVID-19. Working with Elijah's Promise, volunteers led by Jay Goldberg mobilized to make lunches here at Anshe Emeth to dispense to those facing food insecurities. I know that Rabbi Baisley reported this on Rosh Hashanah, but it bears repeating. To date, over 34,000 sandwiches have been made and distributed. The Anshe Emeth Community Development Corporation has also, for more than 20 years, reached out to the community through its Central Jersey Diaper Bank, providing not only diapers, but also a full array of other essential baby items at no cost to young families in Middlesex County. When families could not come in to receive supplies, Temple members, in response to the pandemic constraints, stepped up to form delivery squads, making sure that the diapers and other baby items were able to reach those who needed them. If you haven't already, soon you will receive pledge cards for our annual appeal. As you consider your contribution, please reflect on all the Temple provides to each one of our members and consider as generous a pledge as is comfortable for you and your family. Gratefully, many of you have already generously increased your giving, which enables us to offer activities for those who cannot afford the cost of membership. Your support and dedication helps to ensure we can continue to offer everything you value at Anshe Emeth: dynamic worshiping, inspiring music programs, innovative educational programming, and above all, a warm and welcoming atmosphere. At the outbreak of COVID-19, our clergy, educators, professional staff, and our Temple community sprung into action. I am humbled to work alongside such a dedicated crew and appreciate their continued commitment to serve our Temple family. Rabbi Baisley, you have been a rock. You have had to lead through the challenges of the pandemic while helping congregants feel safe and spiritually connected throughout. I am in awe of the creativity and nimbleness you exhibited in reacting to the ever-changing climate while at the same time planning for the future. Your positive attitude during these exceptional times has been nothing short of inspiring. Cantor Stanton, you came to Anshe Emeth just as the world shut down, but that didn't stop you from connecting with our congregants by providing a pathway to spirituality and uplifting us with your beautiful voice. I'm so pleased that many can hear you in person on these high holy days, and we look forward to your long overdue formal installation and celebration in November. I want to thank our Rabbi Emeritus, Bennett Miller. Rabbi Miller, you and I go back a long way, and I would not be standing here on this bema today if it were not for your advice, friendship, and never-ending support. Thank you to our Cantor Emerita, Anna Ott, who leaves a legacy of music excellence here at Anshe Emeth. I want to thank our student rabbis, Ezra Leventhal and Sienna Lautenberg, for recently joining our Temple family. We look forward to hearing from and seeing more of them throughout the coming year. I want to thank our executive director, Heather Kibble, for her tireless efforts. Her hard work, commitment, energy, and devotion continues to help Anshe Emeth flourish. I want to thank our administrative and custodial staff. They are our hardworking yet unsung heroes. I want to thank our Director of Education and Engagement, Matt Vogel, and our Director of Early Childhood Education, Melissa Riley Greco, as well as all of our teachers for preparing our youth to be good people and guardians of our tradition by using the wisdom of the past. I want to thank our collaborative keyboard artist, Dave Schlossberg. Dave, we appreciate your musical gifts. Your talent fills our hearts and souls with joy. I also thank our choir members for enhancing our prayers. It is such a pleasure to hear their voices again. I also want to thank our High Holy Day Committee for the outstanding job they did in arranging socially distant placement for our in-person participants. And I also thank our ushers under the direction of Russ Einbinder for welcoming people and helping them find their seats. I want to express my appreciation to the Temple officers, Board of Trustees, all committee members, and volunteers, and to let you know how important your involvement and dedication is. I want to thank all of our past presidents. We depend on them now, just as we did in the past, for their advice and guidance. And most importantly, I want to thank you, our congregants and supporters, as well as all of those who came before us, for preserving a synagogue that we can truly call home. As this new year begins, we are so excited to turn the page to Anshe Emeth's next chapter together, bringing meaning and connection to our congregation wherever we are. As president, my goals for the coming year are to continue to help to safeguard our temple's fiscal health, to remain active in furthering our commitment to promote inclusivity, to keep current with technology so that our members never miss an opportunity for worship, learning, or engagement, and most importantly, to safely sharing in each other's lives. While we may not know for sure what the future holds, we do know this past year has proven that by working together and supporting each other, we can handle anything that comes our way, just as we have for the past 162 years. As the world changes, so does Anshe Emeth. We are Reformed Jews and are committed to changing and adapting to the needs of the times, all while being guided by the enduring history and traditions of our people. Global pandemic aside, as Reformed Jews, this has always been our practice, straddling between the old and the new, maintaining and respecting the history and roots, while at the same time adjusting to the rhythms of modern life. It seems as though change is the constant in our lives, but change will not deter us from the integrity of our mission and vision. We are Anshe Emeth, always evolving, always moving forward, and always here for you. Ken Yehi Ratzon.
We continue on page 170 for Psalm 150.
Hallelu el bekocho, Hallelu bekia uzo, Hallelu bigvorotav, Hallelu kerov gudlo, Hallelu beteka shofar, Hallelu benevel vechinor, Hallelujah, 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 betoch umachol, Hallelujah, biminim ve'ogav, Hallelujah, betzilzelei shama, Hallelujah, betzilzelei trua, kol hanshama tehallelia, kol hanshama tehallelia.
Ilu finu malay shira kayam. If our mouths were filled with song as the sea, our tongues filled with music like the crash of ocean waves, our lips with praise endless as sky above, our eyes aglow like sun and moon, our arms reaching toward heaven like eagle's wings, our legs as graceful as the gazelle in flight, still our words of thanks to you would not suffice. Adonai, our God and God of all ages, nor could we bless your name enough for your infinite acts of kindness to our ancestors and to us. We continue on page 176 for Chatzi Kaddish.
יתקדש ויקדש שמי רבה בעלמא דברך חירותי וימליך מלכותי בחייכון וביומכון ובחיי לכל בית ישראל בגלה ובזמן קריב ואמרו אמן יהי שמי רבה מבורך לעולם ולעולמי עלמיה יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל שמי דקודשה בריחו לעילה ועילה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה תושבחתה ונחמתה דאמירן בעלמא ואמרו amen.
We rise now in body or spirit for the Baruch Hu on page 178. המאיר לארץ ולעדרים, עליה ברחמים, ובטובו מחדש בכל יום, תמיד מעשה וראשית. יוצר אור ובורא חושך, עושה שלום ובורא את הכל. יוצר אור ובורא חושך, עושה שלום ובורא את הכל. Page 182. Ahava rabba avtanu Adonai Eloheinu, chemla gedola v'yitera chamalta aleinu. You love us by helping us grow. You give us Torah, a ladder for the soul, words that draw us upward, every mitzvah an invitation to climb, forge and kiln and crucible to purify our hearts. Give us Torah. You love us by helping us grow. Page 185. You are the one who unites all things, who links life to life in a sacred chain together. The forests anchored in the soil breathe air into our lungs. Our faces are reflected in the creatures of earth. We carry the sea with us. Our fate is connected to rivers and deserts. Our family, a many-branched tree of life. All beings intertwine in you. All are encompassed in Adonai Echad. Thus no man is an island, no soul exists apart. To say Echad is to know this truth, to see the world whole, humankind undivided. Precious and holy are these words we speak. Adonai Echad, we proclaim you one. Our praise to you, Adonai, you have singled out your people Israel with love.
Baruch atah Adonai, ohev amo Yisrael. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך. והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבבך. ושיננתם לבניך, ודיברת בם, בשבתך, בביתך, ובלכתך בדרך, ובשוכבך, ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אדוני אלוהיכם, אמת.
Emet v'yatziv, true and enduring. All else is fluid, impermanent, fleeting. Together, unsteady we falter, in chaos we cry, in quest for some certainty, an anchor for trust. Zor chayenu magen yishenu, rock of our lives, our shield and protector, you are the constant abiding through time, the rock whose words speak of wholeness and justice, you, the still center, the fixed point where we stand. From the ends of the earth, from the depths of despair, we call with the psalmist to our fortress and refuge. Lead me to the rock that is higher than I. Our rock and salvation, our shelter and strength, grounded in you, we shall never be shaken. The towers of cities will crumble with age, and iron corrodes and decays into rust. But the words and teachings that echo from Sinai are true and enduring. Forever they stand.
מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נדר בקודש, ושמך על שפת הים, יחד כולם הודו, והמליכו ויאמרו, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד. צור ישראל, קומה בעזרת ישראל, ופדי חינומך יהודה וישראל, גואלנו אדוני צבאות, שמו קדוש ישראל. ברוך אתה אדוני גאל ישראל.
We rise in body or spirit for the Amidah on page 198.
Adonai sefatai tiftach, ulfi agi tehilatecha. Adonai sefatai tiftach, ulfi agi tehilatecha. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu v'Elohei avoteinu v'imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, v'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol Hagibor ve'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomer Chasadim Tovim, Ve'konei Hakol, Ve'zocher Chasdei Avot Ve'imahot, U'mevii Geula Livnei Bneihem, Lema'an Shemo Be'ahava. Zochreinu lechaim, melech hofetz b'chaim, v'chodveinu b'sefer ha'chaim, kotveinu b'sefer ha'chaim, lema'ancha Elohim chaim. Zochreinu lechaim, melech hofetz b'chaim, v'chodveinu b'sefer ha'chaim, kotveinu b'sefer ha'chaim, lema'ancha Elohim chaim. Melech Hoshia u'magen, Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avraham, ve'ezrat Sarah. Atah gibor leolam Adonai, mechayei hakol atah rav lehoshia, morid hadar, mechakel chayim bechesed, mechayei hakol berachamim rabim, somech noflim verofei cholim, umatir asurim, umekayem emunato lishenei afar, michamocha ba'al gevorot, umidom elach, melech me'midom chayeh, umatzmiach Yeshua. Michamocha el harachamim, zocher yetzurav, lechaim berachamim, ונאמן אתה להחיות הכל, ברוך אתה אדוני, מחיי הכל.
Please be seated. We continue on page 209. Today, we call it by its rightful name, a day of dread, Nora v'ayom. Unwelcome visitor, for we want to live in a sunny world where God is love and all endings are happy. But the drumbeat sounds and the words tumble down, and even the angels tremble with fear. For all things are judged, and all things will pass, and life ends in a heartbeat, and death knows our name. Together, at the start of the year, in the season of truth, comes the day of remembrance for all we forget and all we deny, and we fall on our knees in the depths of our hearts, for we know that the bell tolls for us. Our words are old and the language was theirs, but the call is real and the message is ours. Take hold of your life while you still have the chance, for your story will end, and it might be this year, in a way you don't know. Take hold of your life, make things right while you can. Don't miss the call of the day of dread.
Oh
And so a great shofar will cry Tekiah, and a still, small voice will be heard. Angels in a whirl of fear and trembling will say, behold the day of judgment, for they too are judged. In your eyes, even they are not blameless. All who come into the world pass before you like sheep before their shepherd. As a shepherd considers the flock when it passes beneath the staff, you count and consider every life. You set bounds, you decide destiny, you inscribe judgments.
Berosh Hashanah Yikatevon Ov Yom Tzom Kippur Ov Yom Tzom Kippur Yechatemon Ov Yom Tzom Kippur Ov Yom Tzom Kippur Yechatemon Berosh Hashanah Yikatevon Ov Yom Tzom Kippur Ov Yom Tzom Kippur Yechatemon Ov Yom Tzom Kippur Ov Yom Tzom Kippur Yechatemon.
On Rosh Hashanah, this is written. On the fast of Yom Kippur, this is sealed. Together, how many will pass away from this world? How many will be born into it? Who will live and who will die? Who will reach the ripeness of age? Who will be taken before their time? Who by fire and who by water? Who by war and who by beast? Who by famine and who by drought? Who by earthquake and who by plague? Who by strangling and who by stoning? Who will rest and who will wander? Who will be tranquil and who will be troubled? Who will be calm and who tormented? Who will live in poverty and who in prosperity? Who will be humbled and who exalted?
Berosh Hashanah Yikatevon Ov Yom Tzom Kippur Ov Yom Tzom Kippur Yechatemon Ov Yom Tzom Kippur Ov Yom Tzom Kippur Yechatemon Berosh Hashanah Yikatevon Ov Yom Tzom Kippur Ov Yom Tzom Kippur Yechatemon Ov Yom Tzom Kippur Ov Yom Tzom Kippur
But through return to the right path, through prayer and righteous giving, we can transcend the harshness of the decree.
O teshuva, o tefila, o tzedaka, mavirin et roa hagezerah.
We rise in body or spirit for the Kedusha on page 218.
מקדש את שמך בעולם כשם שמקדישים אותו בשמי מרום. ככתוב על יד נביאך וקרא זה אל זה ואמר קדוש 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 אדוני צבאות מלוך כל הארץ כבודו. מאדיר שמך בכל הארץ. ברוך כבוד אדוני ממקומו. ושיבחך אלוהינו מפינו לא ימוש לעולם ועד כי אל מלך Baruch atah Adonai, Baruch hu, Baruch Shemo. Hamelech, Hamelech, HaKadosh.
You may be seated. We continue on page 245. Eloheinu ve'Elohei avotenu v'imotenu, barchenu babracha hameshuleshet haktuva batorah, ha'amura mipi kohanim, am kedoshecha ka'amor. Our God, divine presence whose path our ancestors walked, bless us now with words first bestowed on Israel in the time of Moses and Aaron, the threefold blessing given us through Torah that joins our hopes with theirs.
Yevarechecha Adonai ve'yishmerecha.
May God bless you and protect you. May it be so.
Ya'er Adonai panav elecha v'chuneka.
May you receive the light of God's kindness and grace. May it be so.
Yisa Adonai panav elecha v'yasem lecha
May God bestow favor upon you and give you peace. May it be so.
Sim shalom, tova uvracha ba'olam, chen v'chesed, berachamim aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael amecha. Adonai Eloheinu, Torat Chaim ve'ahavat chesed, u'tzedakah u'veracha ve'rachamim ve'chaim ve'shalom. בספר חיים ברכה, בספר חיים לספר חיים ברכה ושלום ופרנסה טובה. ייזכר וניכתב לפניך אנחנו בכל עמך בית ישראל. לחיים טובים ולשלום. ברוך אתה אדוני עושה השלום.
We continue with a few moments of silent prayer.
Page 292. We stand in humility, conscious of our failings. Shema Kulenu, hear our call. True sacrifice to God is penitent spirit. You treasure a crushed and repentant heart. For you are close to the brokenhearted, and you give strength to a suffering soul. You are the healer of shattered hearts. You are the one who binds up their wounds. For thus says the high and exalted one, who lives forever, whose name is holy, I dwell in a high and holy place, but also with the downcast and lowly, to bring new life to despondent souls, to restore and revive repentant hearts. Return now, Israel, to Adonai your God, for you have fallen because of your sin. Take words with you and return to God. Ask the Eternal, forgive what is wrong, accept what is good. We stand in humility, conscious of our failings. We set before you the wrongs we have done. We trust in your compassion, for you know who we are. Shema Kolenu, hear our call.
We call upon thee, Adonai.
Who's
Page 296. Eloheinu v'Elohei avotenu v'imamtenu tavo lefanecha tfilatenu. Our God and God of all generations, may our prayers reach your presence. When we turn to you, do not be indifferent. Adonai, we are arrogant and stubborn, claiming to be blameless and free of sin. In truth, we have stumbled and strayed. We have done wrong. As collectively together we say, Ashamnu, Bagadnu, Gazalnu, Dibarnu Dofi, Hevinu, Bihirshanu, Zadnu, Hamasnu, Tafalnu Sheker, Ya'atznu Ra, Kitzavnu, Latznu, Maradnu, Tiatznu, Sararnu, Avinu, Hashanu, Sararnu, Kishinu Oref, Ra'ashnu, Shichatnu, Tiavnu, Tiinu, Titanu. Of these wrongs we are guilty. We betray, we steal, we scorn, we act perversely, we are cruel, we scheme, we are violent, we slander, we devise evil, we lie, we ridicule, we disobey, we abuse, we defy, we corrupt, we commit crimes, we are hostile, we are stubborn, we are immoral, we kill, we spoil, we go astray, lead others astray. Page 300. For these sins, our God, we ask forgiveness. Al chet shechatanu lefanecha b'ones uvratzon, v'al chet shechatanu lefanecha b'yodim uvelo yodim. The ways we have wronged you under duress and by choice, and harm we have caused in your world consciously or unconsciously. Al chet shechatanu lefanecha b'vli da'at, v'al chet shechatanu lefanecha b'ratzon raglaim lehara. The ways we have wronged you through our thoughtlessness, and harm we have caused in your world through impulsive acts of malice. Al chet shechatanu lefanecha b'chozek yad, v'al chet shechatanu lefanecha b'zuzul hurim u'morim. The ways we have wronged you by abusing our power, and harm we have caused in your world through disrespect to parents and teachers. Al chet shechatanu lefanecha b'yetzer hara, v'al chet shechatanu lefanecha b'kashiyot oref. The ways we have wronged you by giving to our hostile impulses, and harm we have caused in your world through inflexibility and stubbornness. Al chet shechatanu lefanecha b'chachashuv chazav, v'al chet shechatanu lefanecha b'chalut rosh. The ways we have wronged you through lies and deceit, and harm we have caused in your world by making light of serious matters. Al chet shechatanu lefanecha b'siach siftotenu, v'al chet shechatanu lefanecha b'tzarot ayin. The ways we have wronged you in our routine conversations, and harm we have caused in your world through envy. Va'al kulam elohas lichot slachlanu mechalanu kaperlanu. For all these failures of judgment and will, God of forgiveness, forgive us, pardon us, lead us to atonement.
lanu, selach lanu, mecha lanu, kaper lanu.
Al chet shechatanu lefanecha b'galui u'v'sater, v'al chet shechatanu lefanecha b'sinat chinam, the ways we have wronged you openly and secretly, and harm we have caused in your world by hating without cause. Al chet shechatanu lefanecha b'frikat ol, v'al chet shechatanu lefanecha b'ma'achal v'mishteh, the ways we have wronged you by losing self-control, and harm we have caused in your world through consumption of food and drink. Al chet shechatanu lefanecha b'galui ariot, v'al chet shechatanu lefanecha b'imutz halev, the ways we have wronged you through sexual immorality, and harm we have caused in your world by hardening our hearts. V'al chet shechatanu lefanecha b'neshech u'v'marbit, v'al chet shechatanu lefanecha b'ma'asa u'v'matan, the ways we have wronged you through greed and exploitation, and harm we have caused in your world through dishonesty in business. Al chet shechatanu lefanecha b'hirhur halev, v'al chet shechatanu lefanecha b'rechilut, the ways we have wronged you through our innermost thoughts, and harm we have caused in your world through gossip and rumor. Al chet shechatanu lefanecha b'chapat shochad, v'al chet shechatanu lefanecha b'chilul Hashem, the ways we have wronged you by offering or accepting bribes, or in harm we have caused in your world by profaning your name in public. V'al kulam Elohas lichot, slach lanu, machal lanu, kaper lanu. For all these failures of judgment and will, God of forgiveness, forgive us, pardon us, lead us to atonement.
Ve'al kulam Elohas lichot, selach lanu, mecha lanu, kaper lanu. Ve'al kulam Elohas lichot, selach lanu, mecha lanu, selach lanu, mecha lanu, kaper lanu.
We continue silently now for a few moments of cheshbon hanefesh, the personal private reflection of the soul, either using the words in the pages that follow or the reflections of the heart. Rise now in body or spirit for Avinu Malkeinu on page 252. As together we say, Avinu Malkeinu, Shema Kolenu. Avinu Malkeinu, Almighty and merciful, hear our voice. Avinu Malkeinu, Chatanu Lefanecha. Avinu Malkeinu, we have strayed and sinned before you. Avinu Malkeinu, Chamol Aleinu Va'al Olaleinu V'tapenu. Avinu Malkeinu, have compassion on us and our families. Avinu Malkeinu, Kalei Dever Becherev V'Rav Me'aleinu. Avinu Malkeinu, halt the onslaught of sickness, violence, and hunger. Avinu Malkeinu, Kalei Kol Tsar Mastin Ma'aleinu. Avinu Malkeinu, halt the reign of those who cause pain and terror. Avinu Malkeinu, Kodvenu B'Sefer Chaim Tovim. Avinu Malkeinu, enter our names in the book of lives well lived. Avinu Malkeinu, Chadesh Aleinu Shana Tova. Avinu Malkeinu, renew for us a year of goodness. Avinu Malkeinu, Malei Yadenu Mebirchotecha. Avinu Malkeinu, let our hands overflow with your blessings. Avinu Malkeinu, Harem Keren Misisecha. Avinu Malkeinu, let our eyes behold the dawn of redemption. Avinu Malkeinu, Na'al Tishvenu Rakem Milfanecha. Avinu Malkeinu, we pray, do not turn us away from you with nothing. Avinu Malkeinu, Kabel Berachamim Uvratzon et Filatenu. Avinu Malkeinu, welcome our prayer with love, accept and embrace it. Avinu Malkeinu, Aseh Imanu Laman Shemecha. Avinu Malkeinu, act towards us as befits your name. Avinu Malkeinu, Aseh Lamancha Imlo Lama'anenu. Avinu Malkeinu, act for your sake, if not for ours. Avinu Malkeinu, Ein Lanu Melech Ela Ata. Avinu Malkeinu, you alone are our sovereign. Avinu Malkeinu, Patak Sha'arei Shemaim Letfilatenu. Avinu Malkeinu, let the gates of heaven be open to our prayer. Avinu Malkeinu, Shema Kolenu, Hus V'rachem Aleinu. Avinu Malkeinu, hear our voice, treat us with tender compassion. Avinu Malkeinu, Chonenu V'anenu, Ki ein banu ma'asim, Aseh imanu tzedakah v'chesed v'hoshienu. Avinu Malkeinu, almighty and merciful, answer us with grace, for our deeds are wanting. Save us through acts of justice and love.
Avinu Malkeinu, Onenu Vaneinu. Avinu Malkeinu, Onenu Vaneinu, Ki ein banu ma'asim. Aseh imanu, tzedakah v'chesed. Aseh imanu, tzedakah v'chesed, v'hoshienu. Aseh imanu, tzedakah v'chesed. Aseh imanu, tzedakah v'chesed, v'hoshienu. Avinu Malkeinu, Chonenu V'aneinu. Avinu Malkeinu, Chonenu V'aneinu, Ki ein banu ma'asim.
We continue with Seder Kriyat Torah, our service for reading the Torah, on page 255.
Ein kamocha v'elim Adonai, ve'en kemasecha, malchutecha malchut kol olamim, u'memshaltecha bechol dor v'dor. Adonai melech, Adonai Adonai, Adonai Yevarech et amo v'shalom.
Adonai, Adonai, God compassionate, gracious, endlessly patient, loving and true, showing mercy to the 1000th generation, forgiving evil, defiance, and wrongdoing, and granting pardon.
Adonai, Adonai, erachum v'chanun, Adonai, 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 erachum v'chanun, Adonai, erech apayim v'rav chesed ve'emet, Adonai, notzer chesed la'alafim, nosei avon v'fesha v'chata v'nakeh. Adonai, Adonai, erachum v'chanun, Adonai. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Echad Eloheinu, Gadol Adonenu, Kadosh v'norah Shemo. Gadlu l'Adonai iti, u'neromema Shemo yachdav. Al shlosha devarim, al shlosha devarim, al shlosha devarim, ha'olam omen. Al shlosha devarim, al shlosha devarim, al shlosha devarim, ha'olam omen.
Please be seated. Our Torah portion this morning is Nitzavim, and it recalls this image of everyone standing before Moses in the congregation, everyone, young, old, rich, poor, stranger, resident, that all of us stand before really God at this moment. And it echoes to right now as we all stand before God and ourselves as we reflect upon this moment in time, asking the question of what will we do tomorrow?
We call upon Lucy Nalepa as our first Torah reader, and we have as our first Aliyah David Snyder. Ya'amod David Michael Mikael ben Abraham v'Sarah ha'Aliyah harishona. Baruch Adonai Barak Leolam Vaed.
Baruch Adonai Hambarak Leolam Vaed. Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu Melech Haolam Asher Barkar Baru Mikol Ha'amim. Binatan Lanu Et Torato. Baruch Atah Adonai Noten HaTorah.
Amen.
Amen. Aten netzavim hayom kolchem livnei Adonai Elohechem Rashechem Shivtechem Ziknechem Veshotrechem Kol Ish Yisrael Tapchem Neshechem Vegercha Asher Bekerev Machanecha Mechotei Beitzecha Ad Shoev Meimecha Leovrecha Bivrit Adonai Elohecha Uva'alato Asher Adonai Elohecha Korit Imcha Hayom.
Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu Melech Haolam Asher Natan Lanu Torah Emet. V'keu Olam Nata B'teinu. Baruch Atah Adonai Noten HaTorah.
Amen. We now call upon Alison Morzala. Ta'amod Alejandra Bat Yosef Ha'aliyah Sheni.
Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMavarach.
Baruch Adonai Barak Leolam Vaed.
Baruch Adonai HaMavarach Le'olam Vaed. Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu Melech Haolam. Asher Bachar Banu Mikol Ha'amim. V'natan Lanu et Torato. Baruch Atah Adonai Noten HaTorah.
Amen.
Amen. Lama'an Hakimatecha Hayom Lo Le'am Vehu Yehielecha Le'Elohim Ka'asher Diber Lach Ve'Ka'asher Nishba La'avotecha Le'Avraham Le'Yitzchak U'Yaakov V'lo yitchem levadechem Anochi koreit et habrit hazot ve'et ha'ala hazot ki et asher yeshno po imanu omeid hayom Lifnei Adonai Eloheinu ve'et asher eineinu po imanu hayom.
Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu Melech Haolam. Asher Natan Lanu Torah Emet. V'chayei Olam Nata B'tochenu. Baruch Atah Adonai Noten HaTorah.
Amen. We now call upon Joseph Angelo as our next Torah reader. And we call up Leonard Littman for our next Aliyah. Ya'amod Lebel Ben Chaim.
Adonai Hamara.
Baruch Adonai Baruch Le'olam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Baruch Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher b'ha'adonu mikol ha'amin. V'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch Atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
Amen. Ki hamitzvah hazot asher anochi mitzavecha hayom lo nifleit hi imecha v'lo rechoka hi lo vashamayim hi le'mor mi yalelanu hashemayma v'yikahecha lanu v'yashminu ta v'na'asena v'lo me'ever layam hi le'mor mi ya'avur lanu el ever hayam v'yikahecha lanu v'yashminu ta v'na'asena ki karov elecha chadavar me'od beficha uvra lacha la'asoto.
Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torah l'neinu chayei olam natan b'toreinu. Baruch Atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. We now call upon for a third Torah reader, Ethan Fantel, as we call upon Sarah Khan for our next Aliyah. Ta'amod Sarah bat Andrew v'Halina.
Baruch et Adonai Hamvara.
Baruch Adonai Hamvarach Le'olam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hamvarach Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech ha'olam asher barabanu mikol ha'amin v'natan lanu et Torto. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
Amen. Re'eh natati lefanecha hayom et hachayim ve'et hatov ve'et hamavet ve'et hara asher anochi mitzavecha hayom le'ahava et Adonai Elohecha ללכת בדרכיו ולשמור מצוותיו והוגותיו ומשפטיו וחיית ברבית וברכך אדוני אלוהיך בארץ אשר אתה בשמה לרשתה ואם יפנה לבבך ולא תשמע ונידחת והשתחווית לאלוהים אחרים ועבדתם.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech ha'olam asher natan lanu Torah temet v'hayei olam nata b'tohenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. We now call upon Lee Livingston. Ya'amod Aryeh Ephraim ben Ze'ev Hafen Ha'aliyah Hachamisha. Baruch Adonai Baruch Le'olam Va'ed. Amen. Amen. Higarati lachem hayom ki avot tovedu lo ta'rehu yamim al ha'arama asher ata ove et herden lavo shama l'reshta hidotzi vachem hayom את השמיים ואת הארץ, החיים והמוות נתתי לפניך, הברכה והקללה, ובחרת בימים למען תחיה אתה וזרעך, לאהבה את אדוני אלוהיך, לשמוע בקולו ולדוב קבו. כי הוא חייך ואורך ימיך לשבת על הרמה אשר נשבע אדוני לאבותיך לאברהם וליצחק וליעקב לתת לכם. Amen. וזאת התורה אשר שם משה לפני בני ישראל על פי אדוני ביד משה יד אדוני
Cry from the depths, says God. Do not hold back. Lift up your voice like the shofar. Tell my people their transgression and the house of Jacob their sin. Yes, they see me daily as though eager to learn my ways, as if they were a nation that does what is right and has not abandoned God's law. They ask of me the right way, eager for God's nearness. They say, why do we fast and you do not see it? We afflict ourselves and you do not know it. Because even on your fast day, you think only of desire, while oppressing all who work for you. Because your fasting is filled with strife, and with callous fist you strike. No, your fasting this day will not lift up your voice to heaven. Is this the fast I desire, a day to afflict body and soul, bowing your head like a reed, covering self with sackcloth and ashes? Do you call this a fast, a day worthy of the favor of Adonai? Is not the fast that I desire to break the bonds of injustice and remove the heavy yoke, to let the oppressed go free and release all those enslaved? Is it not to share your bread with the hungry and to take the homeless poor into your home? And never to neglect your own flesh and blood? Then shall your light burst forth like the dawn, and your wounds shall quickly heal. Your righteous one leading the way before you, the presence of Adonai guarding you from behind. Then when you call, Adonai will answer, and when you cry, will respond, I am here. If you remove the chains of oppression, the menacing hand, the malicious word, if you offer your compassion to the hungry and satisfy the suffering, then shall your light shine through the darkness, and your night become bright as noon. Adonai will guide you always. Slake your thirst in parched places. Give strength to your bones. You shall be like a well-watered garden, an unfailing spring. From you they will rebuild ancient ruins, lay foundations for ages to come. You shall be called the one who mends the breach and brings back the streets for dwelling. If you cease to trample Shabbat, stop pursuing your affairs on my holy day. If you call Shabbat a delight, the holy day of Adonai honored. If you honor God by not doing business or speaking of everyday matters, then shall you take pure delight in Adonai. I will lift up your journey on earth to the highest of places and nourish you from the heritage of your father Jacob. For thus spoke Adonai. Blessed are you, our God, eternal, supreme power of the universe, rock of all ages, source of justice in all generations, God in whom faithfulness abides, whose word is deed, whose every utterance bespeaks truth and righteousness. Our God eternal, for all these gifts we thank you and bless you. Torah, worship, the books of the prophet, and this day of atonement, giving to us for the sake of pardon and forgiveness, that we might make amends with honor and dignity. Let all life bless your name continually to the end of time, so that your truth will endure forever. Blessed are you, Adonai, sovereign, who forgives our failings and pardons the failings of all your people, the house of Israel. You banish our guilt from year to year. You reign in majesty over all the earth. You sanctify the people Israel and the Day of Atonement.
We continue on page 290 as we return our course to the art. Yahalu et Shem Adonai Kniskav Shemo Levado. All praise God's name, for God's name alone is truly sublime. Please rise.
Hodo al eretz v'shamayim vayarem keren le'amon tehillah lecho hasidah li'bnei
precious teaching I have given you. My Torah, do not forsake it. A tree of life to those that hold it fast. All who embrace it know happiness. Its ways are ways of pleasantness, and all its paths are peace. Take us back, Adonai. Let us come back to you. Renew in our time the days of old.
Et Chaim hi lama chazikima vetomecheha meushar teracheha darchei noam bechol netivoteha Shalom, Ashivenu Adonai, Eilecha V'nashova, Chadesh, Chadesh Yameinu, Chadesh Yameinu, Tekedem.
It is an honor now to call up our Rabbi Emeritus, Rabbi Bennett Miller, to offer some words of Torah. I feel like this is a Shehecheyanu moment, as this is the first return in a few years, and I can't tell you how grateful I am to have you with us this morning.
For those of you who are with us virtually, I can tell you that all of the men sitting in the sanctuary are wearing pants. I can't speak for the rest of you. It's good to be home. It's good to see all of you who are here in the sanctuary and everyone else virtually by Zoom. I'm grateful to Rabbi Baisley for inviting me to share some thoughts with all of you this morning. Philip, since the moment I retired, you have taken the helm of our congregation and led it beautifully. Through the calm first days of transition, and then the stormy moments of national politics, and then navigating through the rough seas of this awful COVID pandemic, we trust that under your leadership you will bring us to the next horizon of our temple's journey, with calm waters and sky blue vistas, where we all can feel the power and the joy of life and living. We are grateful to you and to Ina Horn, my precious friend and student, and each of her predecessors, along with Cantor Stanton and my student, my bar mitzvah boy, who asked me one day at Camp Harlem when he was 11 and thinking of becoming a rabbi, "Am I falling behind because I haven't studied enough Talmud yet, Rabbi?" And I looked at him and said, "Keep enjoying life, David, and keep playing with those incredible fingers." To all of our temple leaders who give of their time and devotion to everything that Anshe Emeth represents and holds dear for so many. Yes, it's good to be home, a bit emotional. Good to be here to declare Hinei Matov Umanaim Shevet Achim Gam Yachad. That simple phrase, you all know it, the song we all learned from childhood, how good and how pleasant it is for brothers and sisters to be together, to be home as one community, both comforted and strong because of the warm and caring embrace that we share as we hold each other in loving arms and with generous hearts. Home, a simple word, and yet a meaningful word to be sure. In these recent days, during the past year and a half, we have come to understand the importance and the power of home. Physically, we have spent more time in our houses than ever before. For some, that has meant being home in meaningful ways. For others, being in the house has felt like a physical and emotional imprisonment from which there is little or no escape. We haven't had our synagogues to draw us together, or the escape to movie theaters or malls or restaurants or even gymnasiums. And when we are together, each of us stands with a mask covering both the physical and emotional facade that normally reveals so much about who we are, how we feel, for what we earn. We can't see each other's smile, nor a frown. We can't recognize one another's hunger, nor the expression of loneliness or of fulfillment. And the social distancing separates us and prevents us from feeling one another's touch of kindness or a loving embrace. This just doesn't do it. That's not how life is supposed to be lived. As our prophetess through song, Joan Baez, has written, "No man is an island. No man stands alone. Each man's joy is joy to me. Each man's grief is my own. We need one another, so I will defend. Each man is my brother, each man is my friend." Yes, home is that powerful notion, not of a place with four walls and a door. Home is rather mikdash ma'at, the small sanctuary where the divine presence can be felt. Home celebrates the answer to the question first posed in Genesis, "Am I my brother's keeper?" And the answer is a resounding yes. For home means living in community. Home means caring about each other. Home celebrates living in the presence of the divine. My teacher and friend John Talbot once taught me that people live in community or they die. Look at our home, this temple, this beautiful physical presence that has served as a beacon of light and goodness to so many for more than 160 years. Even in the midst of pandemic, Anshe Emeth has fed the hungry and clothe the naked. You heard Ina say it this morning and Rabbi Paisley say it during Rosh Hashanah. We've taken care of the naked, especially the nakedness of infants and toddlers. The lines of people waiting for diapers has been beyond extraordinary. Sandwiches by the thousands prepared and distributed to hungry bellies, and so many suffering from food and nutrition insufficiency. And from this community, the calls of caring and the help provided by shopping for shut-ins and so much more, you've proven once again that Anshe Emeth is a true home, where God's wishes are carried out by the hands and the arms of each and every one of you. I think it's fair to say, and looking now from a bit of a distance, you are angels of hope, angels of kindness, giving blessing to all in search of tenderness and love. And that's why, despite the pandemic and the social distancing and even separating here, it's good to be home. And it's also good to be at home. We Jews living here in America have worked hard to be at home. The places where our people have lived have not always been welcoming to us, and certainly some places have folded up their welcome mat to Jews and even sought to exterminate us. Our history is one of a people who have traveled the earth in search of a place to call home. And since the exile from our promised land, we have searched for places where we can feel at home. Some of those lands welcomed us warmly, and we created communities where we could be at home, where we could mingle among the majority population and even contribute greatly to society. We know of such places. Here's a bit of the list: Babylonia, Persia, Spain, Germany, England, Poland, Germany again, England again, Russia, Lithuania, just to name a few. In the 12th century, a famous Jewish traveler by the name of Benjamin of Tudela wrote a book called Itinerary. It was about his travels through lands inhabited by Jews. He wrote of thriving Jewish communities, of places where Jews made major contributions to the life of the countries in which they lived, where they built strong communities of faith, of learning, of culture. He was impressed by the number of Jews in each community, the culture that they established, and the impact they made upon the cities and the regions they inhabited. But almost all of those communities are now simply historical footnotes in the story of the Jewish people. Most of those communities are made up only of dead Jews, dead communities that now are advertised as tourist sites that the government supports, even though nary a single Jew lives there. Now, I don't want to suggest today that our own community or the American Jewish community as we know it in the future will be among the dead communities of Jewish history. Chas v'chalila, far be it that that should happen. After all, we have made this wonderful America our home. Look at every town and every city where Jews reside and see the impact we have made. And yet in recent years, we have witnessed the diminishing of once thriving Jewish communities. And we have seen the rise in anti-Semitism here in America in frightening ways. I think we may even have come to think of ourselves as being only at home, but not necessarily being home. At home means that we live in a place where we are comfortable and contribute to society in significant ways. We live as if where we are is home, yet recognize that our existence here may only be temporary, even if temporary means 100 years or 2 or 300 years. It's a story of the Jewish people, our story, our history. In recent days, Jewish organizations and communities have focused on 2 issues: security and anti-Semitism. For good reasons in both cases. Anti-Semitic incidents have increased significantly. Pogroms in places like Pittsburgh and Jersey City have shaken us. Security has become a growing line item on the budgets of nearly every Jewish institution. And more Jews talk, mostly quietly among friends, about purchasing guns to have at home. Why should such craziness increase? What is it that we are experiencing here where we are at home? In searching for answers, I came across these words in a book published only last week entitled "People Love Dead Jews." Author and New Jersey native Dara Horn shares with us the following thoughts. She says, "There are so few Jews in the world, even in the United States. We are barely 2% of the population, a minority among minorities. Who cares if my children have to grow up praying in a lockdown? Statistically, nothing that happens to Jews should be of any consequence to anyone else, except that it is." And she continues, "Since ancient times, in every place they have ever lived, Jews have represented the frightening prospect of freedom. As long as Jews existed in any society, there was evidence that it, in fact, wasn't necessary to believe what everyone else believed, that those who disagree with their neighbors could survive and even flourish against all odds. The Jews' continued distinctiveness, despite overwhelming pressure to become like everyone else, demonstrated their enormous effort to cultivate that freedom. Devotion to law and story, deep literacy, and an absolute obsessiveness about consciously transmitting these values between generations. Just ask any of the former bar mitzvah students who are sitting here or who chanted beautifully from Torah, and they will tell you, our teachers and our rabbis and our parents and what they did at Anshe Emeth taught us that we are to demand justice and freedom, not just for us, but for everyone. That we were once immigrants and we have a responsibility to open our doors and welcome the immigrants from every place of refuge, just like we were welcomed in our time. The existence of Jews in any society is a reminder that freedom is possible, but only with responsibility. And that freedom without responsibility is no freedom at all. Now, permit me to ask Dara Horn to speak with us just a bit more. People, she says, who hate Jews know this. You don't need to read the latest screed by a hater to know that unhinged killers feel entitled to freedom without any obligation to others. Anti-Semitism is at heart a conspiracy theory. And one appeal of conspiracy theories is that they absolve their believers of accountability, replacing the difficult obligation to build relationships with the easy urge to destroy. The insane conspiracy theories that motivate people who commit anti-Semitic violence reflect a fear of real freedom, a fondness for tyrants, an aversion to ideas unlike their own, and most of all, a casting of responsibility for complicated problems. None of this is coincidence. Societies that accept Jews have flourished, and societies that reject Jews have withered, fading into history's night. I don't know what to tell my children or yours about this horror, but I do know what to tell you. That freedom, the freedom that we cherish, is meaningless without our commitment to one another, to civil discourse, to actively educating the next generation, to welcoming strangers, to loving our neighbors. The beginning of freedom is the beginning of responsibility. Now, you and I, those who sit here in the sanctuary, and those who are watching from home, to all of you, I say now more than ever before, if we want to feel that we are home in this place where we are at home, we cannot afford to become complacent about our commitment to the eternal values bequeathed to us by our ancestors, our parents, and grandparents too. And they are to love the stranger, to feed the hungry, to heal the sick, to clothe the naked, to seek justice, to be pursuers of peace, to create societies worthy of the divine presence. It's that simple and that complicated. And doing so is more urgent than ever before, because our future and the future of our nation as a great and welcoming land of freedom is at stake. To choose not to carry out this mandate given to our people is to begin to create another dustbin of history. For the sake of our children and our grandchildren, we dare not risk it. I have spoken to you about home and our being at home. Now permit me a few more words about another home. The collective Jewish home, our homeland, our beloved Israel, the greatest miracle in modern Jewish history. There's a lot of talk about Israel these days. Every day Israel is in the media. No other country save the United States gains such international attention. Yet Israel, unlike every other country, is held to a standard expected of no other nation. I have a friend named Jerry Ostroff. His first job was to market a new product for Procter & Gamble when he worked there in Cincinnati. He told his supervisors that the product was so good that he could give it the name of the street where he lived and it would automatically be a huge success. Jerry lived on Pringle Drive. Need I say more? Now, I've been privileged to serve on the board of a nonprofit that Jerry established when he retired a few years ago. It's called Rethink Israel. He created it because, as he told me, Israel is like Tylenol. It's a great product, but it does have a few side effects. And he's right. Israel is an unbelievable product, but it does have side effects. Discrimination, ruling over unoccupied people that it never intended to, religious intolerance, even among Jews, political corruption too, and even prostitution. Can you imagine a Jewish country with prostitutes? And yet all this Theodor Herzl understood when he wrote about the Alt Neuland. He understood that if a Jewish state would become a reality, it would also become a nation with real problems. Yes, Israel is real. We should celebrate its reality, and soon it will be 75 years young. And we should strive to confront the challenges that are before her. I'm not naive about those challenges. It's why I have devoted most of my life to facing the challenge that confront Israel as a nation, and why in retirement I continue to work for an Israel that represents the prophetic model more than the cynical notion that the Jews should not be entitled to a land and country of their own. About Israel I remain, and I hope you do too, a romantic. I won't let anyone or any propaganda machine, Jewish or otherwise, prevent me from dreaming of the land of milk and honey where all can sit under their vine and live unafraid. Now, many years ago, two composers whose names were Yipsel Harburg and Isidor Hochberg, better known as Yip Harburg and Harold Arlen. They wrote a song. They were both children of European Jews, and they wrote this song in the aftermath of the infamous pogrom in 1939 known as Kristallnacht. A few months later, the song became famous as part of a film that we all know called The Wizard of Oz. I invite you to hear the words of that song, but understand them as maybe they were really meant to be. A dream of a place where Jews could live and dream, and where dreams could become true. Somewhere over the rainbow, way up high, there's a land that I heard of once in a lullaby. Somewhere over the rainbow, skies are blue, and the dreams that you dare to dream really do come true. Someday I'll wish upon a star and wake up where the clouds are far behind me, where troubles melt like lemon drops away above the chimney tops. That's where you'll find me. Somewhere over the rainbow, bluebirds fly, birds fly over the rainbow. Why? Then oh, why can't I? If happy little bluebirds fly beyond the rainbow, why? Oh, why can't I? Call me a dreamer. Please continue to dream with me. One of my teachers, Rabbi Jonathan Sachs, now of blessed memory, wrote these words shortly before his death, and he said them just a few blocks down the street when he was here to speak at Rutgers University. Some of us were in attendance and will remember he said these exact words. He said, "One of the most important distinctions I have learned in the course of reflection on Jewish history is the difference between optimism and hope. Optimism is the belief that things will get better. Hope is the faith that together we can make things better. Optimism is a passive virtue, hope an active one. It takes no courage to be an optimist, but it takes a great deal of courage to have hope. Knowing what we do of our past, no Jew can be an optimist. But Jews have never, despite a history of sometimes awesome suffering, Jews have never, ever given up hope. It's true. We're not Jews who are optimistic. We are a people of hope. Hope on this Yom Kippur day. Hope every day that the world can be a better place. gathered together literally and virtually with Jews all over the world, we declare now and all throughout this day to God, before the world, before our sons and daughters, and all of our loved ones, Lihiyot am chofshi be'artzenu, be'eretz Sion v'Yerushalayim. We believe in the hope for a better tomorrow. We believe that the place we call home can once again unite under the banner of justice and truth, of freedom for all. We believe that we can be at home here and wherever Jewish life is celebrated, and we believe that our homeland can again be praised among the family of nations, a place known as Hatikvah, the hope for us and for all who desperately yearn to bring light into the world. Ken Yehi Ratzon. So may it be. And together we say, Amen.
Take care of this house, keep it from harm. If bandits break in, sound the alarm. Care for this house, shine it by hand, and keep it so clean the glow can be seen all over the land. Be careful at night, check all the doors. If someone makes off with a dream, the dream will be yours. Take care of this house, be always on call, for this house is the hope of us all. Take care of our home, keep it from harm. If bandits break in, sound the alarm. Care for our home, shine it by hand, and keep it so clean the glow can be seen all over the land. Be careful at night, check all the doors. If someone makes off with a dream, the dream will be yours. Take care of our home, be always on call, for our home is the hope of us all.
Good Yontiv once again. We have done a lot of thanking today from multiple people. And I will just say thank you to everyone we have thanked for the last couple of days. And I think one of the reasons why we've been so grateful and have said so many thank yous over and over and over again is, especially in light of last year, we know how special this is. So thank you to everyone who helped make this a reality. And thank you in particular to Rabbi Miller for all of your support and generosity, and for coming with us this morning to share such beautiful words about the importance of this home that we live in. Our family services are available right now on YouTube and Facebook, and you can stream it with your family at any time you would like during the day. God willing, Kanahara Pupupu, our interim program will go live at 2 o'clock. You can find that on YouTube and Facebook as well. And our afternoon services will begin at 3:30. Remember that all of our services this year, including the afternoon Yisker Neila service, require tickets because we want to make sure everybody is socially distant. I want to wish everyone a Gemar Chatima Tova, and may you all have a meaningful fast today. We conclude our service now with the singing of Hayom on page 318. Please rise.
Hayom, Hayom, Hayom Te'amseinu, Hayom Te'amseinu, Amen. Hayom, Hayom, Hayom Tevachenu, Tevarchenu, Amen. Hayom, Hayom Tegadleinu, Hayom Tegadleinu, Amen. Hayom, Hayom Tidrashenu, Letova, Amen. Hayom, Hayom, Hayom Tichtavenu, Lechaim Tovim, Amen. Hayom, Hayom Tishma Shabbatenu, Tishma Shabbatenu, Amen. Hayom Tekabel Berachamim Uberatzon Et Tefilatenu, Amen. Hayom, Hayom Tikmechenu Bimin Tzidkecha,
Yehi ratzon melfanecha Adonai Eloheinu v'Elohei avotenu v'imotenu shitchadesh aleinu shana tova u'mituka. Our God and God of our ancestors, eternal God of all generations, may your presence in our lives this new year renew our spirits and renew our strength. May it be a good year. May it be a sweet year. L'shana tova tikatevu v'techatemu. May you all be inscribed and sealed for a good year. Amen.
Amen.